Okay, good evening, everyone. Call the meeting to order. This is the July 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Shrewsbury Select Board. We will start with introducing the board and staff members present. I am Teresa Flynn.
I'm Beth Cassavant.
Michelle Conlon.
Carlos Garcia.
Greg Richards.
Keith Baldinger, Assistant Town Manager.
Kevin Mizikar, Town Manager.
Justin Dobson, Assistant to the Town Manager.
The first item on our agenda is to approve the bills, payrolls, and warrants.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Item number 2 is to review and act to approve the minutes of the July 8th, 2025 meeting.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Item number 3 is announcements and reports. Board members, are there any announcements or reports this evening?
I do. I have something to say.
Okay.
Yeah. More of a comment. So, after our last meeting on July 8th, I received, significant resident feedback related to the decision to revise our development agreement for 409 South Street with Criterion. That decision provided Criterion approximately $244,000 by way of a building permit fee credit. While that decision was unanimous amongst board members, I do want to clarify why I voted to grant an additional discount to Criterion. Development here in Shrewsbury has accelerated, with a lot of the focus being multifamily housing developments along the Route 20 corridor. Much of our commercially zoned land has been lost to residential projects through developer use of Chapter 40B, which allows developer to override underlying zoning for affordable housing developments. This accelerated development and use of 40B has been extremely frustrating for Shrewsbury residents. However, 40B developments can be stopped. They can be stopped by achieving what is referred to as safe harbor status with the state. Once safe harbor status is achieved, the Zoning Board of Appeals can deny new 40B projects. This can be done in 2 primary ways. First, you meet the state's affordable housing requirement. The state's requirement is that 10% of the total number of housing units in a community need to be affordable. When a community reaches the 10% affordable threshold, it enters permanent safe harbor. Permanent in the sense that it will last until at least the next census data is available, which will be around 2032. To achieve safe harbor at current housing levels, Shrewsbury needs to have 1,489 affordable housing units. Currently, we have 1,010, which includes the recently opened Elmwood at the corner of Stony Hill and Route 20. Before my time on the Select Board, the decision was made to place Shrewsbury's MBTA 3A zoning overlay on top of 2 proposed 40B projects, the Pulte project on Green Street and the Criterion project on South Street. As proposed 40B projects, these 2 developments were projected to bring 496 units to Shrewsbury, 271 of which would have contributed to our total affordable housing units. However, once the February referendum vote failed and the MBTA zone was adopted, Pulte decided to change from 40B to MBTA 3A zoning, eliminating 52 affordable housing units. Before changing to MBTA zoning, Pulte was issued a comprehensive permit by the Zoning Board of Appeals on July 17th, 2024. This is important to note due to the second way to achieve safe harbor status, by creating and implementing a housing production plan. With an approved housing production plan, interim safe harbor can be achieved if yearly progress is made toward the required 10% affordable goal. As Mr. Mizikar explained on July 8th, Shrewsbury can achieve 1-year safe harbor by adding 75 new affordable units, or achieve a 2-year safe harbor by adding 149 new units in a 1-year period. Interim safe harbor is achieved once a comprehensive permit is issued by the Zoning Board of Appeals for a new 40B project that meets the thresholds defined in Shrewsbury's housing production plan. When Pulte was issued a comprehensive permit last July, Shrewsbury should have applied for interim safe harbor, providing the Zoning Board of Appeals the ability to deny 40B projects for a 1-year period. However, due to administrative oversight, Shrewsbury housing production plan expired in March of 2024. Shrewsbury remained out of compliance for 10 months until the updated housing production plan was approved by the EOHLC in January of 2025. This oversight prevented Shrewsbury from interim safe harbor and allowed 104 Main Street, a project opposed by many residents, to proceed. Had Shrewsbury renewed its housing production plan on time, 104 Main Street could have been stopped by the Zoning Board of Appeals. Since 104 Main Street was unable to be denied through safe harbor status, The 300 new units making up the development need to be utilized by Shrewsbury to get to the 10% affordable requirement for a more permanent safe harbor. This brings me back to Criterion and my decision on July 8th. If this board would have denied Criterion's request for a revised development agreement, Criterion would have changed from 40B to MBTA zoning, just like Pulte, eliminating 166 affordable units from Shrewsbury's subsidized housing inventory, keeping Shrewsbury under the 10% requirement and out of permanent safe harbor status. As I mentioned earlier, safe harbor is the best way to control future 40B apartment developments. In justifying the need for a revised development agreement, Criterion's representative stated that every dollar counts. Well, do you know who else tells us that every dollar counts? The residents of Shrewsbury. Their hard-earned tax dollars should not be given out freely. I had a choice: either capitulate to Criterion's request and provide Shrewsbury with the ability to control future developments in a responsible manner, or deny the request and continue to give free rein to developers like we have with the Tonellis property and 104 Main Street. And don't even get me started with potentially allowing the Beal developer to kick the can down the road.
Mr. Richards.
I hope this decision is the last time I'm forced to put developers before the residents of our community. Thank you.
I think in the future, if you want to add an agenda item, we should discuss an agenda item. Board members, any comments? Item number 4 is the town manager's report. Mr. Mizikar?
I have nothing.
Item number 5 is public comment pursuant to Select Board Policy 31 to offer citizens the opportunity to provide public comments during Select Board meetings on matters within the board's authority. No one signed up for public comment this evening, and as a reminder, members of the public have until the end of business on the Monday prior to our Tuesday meeting to notify board members of their intent to speak. Item number 6 on our agenda is a 7:05 public hearing to review and act on the application of Balki Chandrakasan on behalf of the India Society of Worcester, 152 Main Street, for entertainment and Sunday entertainment licenses. The applicant has requested that the board continue this item to its meeting on August 2nd, August 12th, so that the applicant can work to close out 2 building permits that were identified during the departmental review process. Are there any members of the public here that want to speak on this matter? Yes, have you come forward and introduce yourself?
Hi there, everybody. My name is Dan Hines. I'm at 176 Main Street, so I'm right across the street, or the Postal Service driveway from it. And I just wanted to come and sort of just get some clarifying answers to what specifically does the entertainment license grant the India Society that it doesn't already have today? And then how does that potentially affect kind of our sort of, kind of commercial residential zoning sort of be that we are in, given that we have, that they do currently have, private events, is what I think it is, and some of those events do go quite late at night past the sort of a 10:30 and 11 o'clock time frame. And so I just wanted to understand more what that looks like.
At this time, I don't know if town staff would be, because the applicant is not present, we can share a little bit of details, but I'd feel more comfortable if they had the opportunity to talk a little bit more about it. But my understanding is that there are 2 to 3 events a year, and not going to be a sort of a frequent. But in terms of your questions about the impact surrounding, do you have specific concerns?
So I don't have any specific concerns. I know that we're in sort of a residential B neighborhood, and they're perfectly lovely neighbors and all that kind of stuff. I just was curious as to sort of, as you say, kind of the impetus for this kind of license question, as what's sort of changing from kind of how things have been happening currently, which has been, for the most part, very harmonious, right? I've been there for, I moved in 2023 and have had really no issues since then. I just was curious what kind of it looked like moving forward.
Sure, Mr. Dawson.
Yeah, I can provide some additional context on the entertainment license. So as you alluded to, they do have private events, a lot of cultural events, particularly on the weekend, like drumming or a dance school, things of that nature. Nothing would change with respect to that. The only thing the entertainment license allows them to do, and when it is required, is if you are providing any form of entertainment, dancing, music, could be drumming, and you're charging an admission fee for it.
Gotcha.
So it was brought to our attention, I believe, last fall that they had a DJ come to their center there, and that there was an admission fee charged
Gotcha.
for that event. And speaking with the applicant, as Ms. Flynn alluded, only happens maybe 2-3 times a year at most where they would have something like that. So I wouldn't foresee any major change to what is going on there. Just, again, when they have those ticketed events, you're required to have the entertainment
Gotcha.
license.
So it's just really the cadence is going to be the same for the most part. It's
Yes.
just a charge admission. Okay. That's very helpful to know. Thank you.
So if you leave your contact information, we can ask the question when the applicant comes before us
Sure thing.
and follow up with you if we learn that there are any changes
Yeah.
that we're not aware of that
Sure thing.
that
Do
you should
you want
be
me
aware
to
of.
like just email you, or how do you want me to do that?
Sure. Mr. Dobson give you his email address.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Was there another resident that wanted to speak?
No, I think you just explained everything I need until August 12th, that is.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Apologize for the inconvenience of having it moved. If there are no other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Item number 7 on our agenda is a 7:10 public hearing to review and act on the application of Dean Park Shrewsbury LLC for a pledge of license, pledge of inventory, and a transfer of the Section 12 all alcohol beverages license from Baltus Corporation, DBA Dean Park Grill and Pizza, for a common victular license and Lord's Day license. We often review applications for a common victular license, which is required when an establishment prepares food for on-site consumption. A Lord's Day license is issued pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 136, Section 7, and authorizes a business to sell, are you ready for it? Frozen desserts, ice cream mix, confectionery, soda water, or fruit on the Lord's Day, which Mr. Dobson has assured me this is required for us to vote on this evening. So my understanding is that the proposed manager and legal counsel are joining us remotely? Yes. Okay,
Hello. Hi, yes, we're here.
great, thank you. Do you mind introducing yourselves, please?
Yeah, so my name's Jackson Christian. I'm the attorney for the applicant, which is Dean Park Shrewsbury LLC. Hardeep Patel and Ujwal Raval are also both here. They're the members and managers of the LLC. So they formed the applicant to purchase the assets, including the liquor license and the business of Baltus Corporation, which is currently doing business, as you said, as Dean Park Pizza and Grill, or a Grill and Pizza at 749 Main Street in Shrewsbury. So they're going to keep operating the restaurant as it was under the same name and everything. Ujwal is going to be the manager of record there. He's tip certified, and him and Hardeep are both U.S. citizens. And the seller is going to be providing some financing for the transaction. That's why there's the request for the pledge of the inventory and the license. So yeah, there's just 3 things that we're requesting from the select board today with regards to the alcohol license. That's approval of the transfer to the applicant, approval of Ujwal as the manager of record, and then approval of the pledge of the inventory and the license to the seller. And then, as you said, we're also looking for the common victualers license and the Lord's Day license for the particular items that they're selling at this location.
In my understanding, there's no change of hours or other proposed changes to the business?
No other proposed changes. They're just going to keep running it as it is. It's just a change in ownership and then who's actually the manager of record.
Okay. And Mr. Mystikar, Mr. Dobson, it appears that there are 2 outstanding items at this time. The workers' compensation affidavit and the liquor liability insurance that the applicant would need to follow up as a contingency of this board's vote.
Yeah.
Anything
That's
else?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is standard for a transfer of license. Once it happens at the state, they'll provide the insurance.
Board members, any comments or questions? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move the board approve the application of Dean Park Shrewsbury LLC for a pledge of license, pledge of inventory, and a transfer of the Section 12 all alcohol beverages license from Baltus Corporation, DBA Dean Park Grill and Pizza, and for a common victual and Lord's Day license contingent upon the provision of the required liquor liability and workers' compensation insurance policy documents.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much, and good luck.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number, I apologize, I would have had you come up. I'm so sorry. Oh, that's fine. I thought you were remote as well. Okay, I'm so sorry. Good luck. Item number 8 is to review and act on the road closure request for a portion of Tatum Road and Rolfe Avenue for Nady Oyon on behalf of Aqualine Utility, Inc. for July 28th, 2025 through August 1st, 2025 from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Barbara Marini Torres, project manager and engineer for Aqualine Utility, I believe is joining us, and our town engineer, Andy Truman, would like to come to the front. Maybe explain a little bit about the request.
Hi.
Oh, she's online, that's why I'm.
Hi, Ms. Torres, how are you? Ms. Torres, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. So
No.
here I am. Yes, we're requesting the road closure on Tatum Road and Rolfe Ave. We're the contractor hired by the town to do the new 18-inch force main that goes from the Rolfe pump station down Tatum Road, just to the corner before Route 9. And to complete the work in there, we're requesting to close Tatum Road. Right now, we're just gonna be working on the intersection between Rolfe and Chatham. I believe I will have to come to another meeting later on the year when we gonna actually close Chatham Road. This is phase 1, and phase 2 will be around probably by the winter.
Okay. Mr. Truman, any?
No, this is part of the sewer capital improvement project, the Maple Avenue Rolfe Pump Station. So they've got to replace the force main up Tatum. It's a very narrow road, so it just makes sense for them to close it temporarily. And obviously we'll coordinate with usual people, fire department, Casella.
Okay.
We'll do
You
the
just-
update
I
launch.
would like to do a correction on the date. We're currently working inside of the pump station. We're probably gonna be on the street by tomorrow and Thursday. We're not closing the road entirely. There's still gonna be access, but we're gonna be working on the street.
So, I'm sorry, you're starting work tomorrow, but there will still be access, so it's not
So-
subject to a request to
Yeah, I still want to put the request because we're gonna be on the street. If there's any chance I can close the road tomorrow. If not, we're gonna work without impacting traffic.
No, we didn't know they were going to close it tomorrow, so no. We need to do some outreach ahead of time, so.
Yeah,
we would just go with
there's
the original
resident,
dates,
yeah, resident impact, police details, those things cannot be implemented this quickly. So we would not be,
Can I work if I don't close the road, but I'm still on the road? There's gonna be some kind of
Yeah,
impact.
as long as it's not a street closing, then that's fine. As long as you've got the regular police
Okay,
details.
no problem. Yep.
okay. So if you're starting work tomorrow without a closure, are you still required to potentially close the road between July 28th and August 1st?
No. No.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble
I
hearing
think-
you. Could
no.
you just speak up, please?
No. No. We're
So-
not gonna be closing the road on July 28th, if that's the question, yeah.
So is there no longer a request for a road closure?
No, I just tried to got into the meeting. We did it 2 weeks ago and we wasn't able to get into the meeting. so I tried to get in this one, thinking that the job will be pushed. But thank you for the time, and no, I will not longer request a road closure then.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's
All right,
no
excuse us,
decision before the board this evening, is what I think I'm hearing.
So I'm just confirming, Barbara, you're not asking for a road closure at all now? Because that's different from what we.
No, because on the 28th, they started working Monday inside the pump station. And like I explained it before, Andy, we can work on the intersection. It's gonna be hard to work unless people around us. That's the reason I wanted to get into the meeting on July 8th at the beginning, when we send the paperwork. But we couldn't do it, so we will have to work with people around.
Okay. Mr. Truman, any,
Just-
oh, go
I
ahead.
just-
Yeah, no,
So if you are gonna work on the roadway, everything still needs to go through the police department, for any details that are required. So I just ask you that you reach out to Mr. Truman first thing in the morning before you start any roadway work, any road openings, et cetera.
Yes, sir. Please detail our schedule already for the entire week.
Great, thank
I
you.
will contact Andy on the morning. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. I don't have to stay, right? I'm good?
You do not have to stay.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate that. Have a good night.
Same to you.
Bye.
All right, so no action, oh, go ahead,
I'm
Beth.
concerned, though. I just, can somebody
That's
just
totally
level
changed what
set
we
for
discussed, yeah.
anybody who might be listening and thinking there was gonna be a closure in the neighborhood? What can residents expect tomorrow?
there will be no closures.
So they are gonna continue doing their work.
They will do the work. It sounds like they're saying now they can keep the street open, which is obviously desirable, but on their initial consultation, they said it would be easier to close the street to do the work. So I don't know what's changed in the last day or so, because the last time we spoke to them, they were closing, so I do apologize, but I will try and get a better idea tomorrow and update the town manager.
Yeah, we can provide an update to the neighborhood as soon
Okay.
as we know.
Great,
Through
thank you.
Code Red and email.
Thanks.
May I ask you a question? So it said initially the request mentioned either this week or next week. Can the work just be delayed until next week and begin the work on Monday? And it sounds like it may be safer for the community, for the residents, if,
Well, the work has to proceed regardless, so I think the concern was they wanted to close the street already. The prior meeting, we're like, well, you don't have your paperwork. We didn't have the regular submission, so this was the soonest he could get on the agenda, and it sounds like something has changed in the interim since.
I'm still here on the call, and all the paperwork submitted through the website, and we got a communication from Justin that we had to submit additional information, which we did it through the website. I understand there were probably a miscommunication there, but Aquiline did submit all the paperwork. Andy, we can talk more on the morning. I can explain you the scale haven't changed. It's just the time on the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Board members, good to proceed to the next item? All right. Item number 9 is to review and act on the road closure request for a portion of South Street from Macura Excavating for July 28th, 2025 through September 5th, 2025 from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. This request is to complete the replacement of the existing water main. Do we have representatives from Macura?
Nick from Acura is here too.
Excavating?
So
Great.
this is,
You wanna-
again, that's part of our water main capital improvements for this year. We're replacing a portion of the water main on South Street, basically from just south of Route 20 down probably about 1,500 feet. It's not all the way to Brook Street, but it's cast iron, and right now it is currently rotting away because of the Eversource cathode line that they have in the street, so we're switching it over to PVC. So it's a very narrow, hilly road, so it just makes sense, like we do with most projects, to have the street closure in our back pocket, and, we'll close it when we need to, and obviously keep local access open.
Yeah, and we're
So-
trying to make a push to do it in that time frame before school starts up, because there is a school
Yep.
on that street. Just make it everyone's lives easier.
So we've already had preliminary issues with Alhambra, and obviously the school department. We're hoping we'll be done before the school buses roll. So it's about 1,200 feet of pipe, so knock on wood, it should go relatively straightforward. There's only a few residential houses, so very similar to my outline, my memo for for the Green Street closing. We'll coordinate with trash pickup and PD and fire department.
And how will those residents be notified?
We'll do the code reds. There's so few of them, we may even just sort of knock on doors.
Yeah.
You know, there's literally maybe 6 houses that will be affected, so we will probably just knock on some doors too and let them know.
Okay. Board members, questions, comments?
I have a few questions. The request goes the estimated completion date of September 5th. Shrewsbury Public Schools start school on August 27th. So is there coordination with Shrewsbury Public Schools and their bus route planning? It's always more complicated the first week of school.
It's always
already.
chaos the first week. So yeah, so we've been talking to April, so we will coordinate that.
Okay. I have a few more questions, if I may. So you mentioned resident notifications. There's, just a few who are in the area that are going to be closed, but that is a pretty major route that is being traveled. And the next request covers the same time frame, and it's sort of the key alternative route when this section of road is closed. So this is going to impact like a pretty significant.
It is unusual that we have 2 concurrent closures at the same time, so yeah, and luckily I did catch that each of them was sending them to the other street, so we did get a chance to coordinate. So mostly the traffic is gonna go through Walnut and through, the south side of Green Street. But looking at the traffic plans, and say we've got Victoria's updated plans just today, there's definitely a lot of redundancy in traffic control sites. So I think what I was just talking quickly with them before the meeting is that we'll probably sit down next week and figure out between them and Pulte, what signs are going where, because obviously we don't want the redundancy. But yeah, it's going to be a little tricky, but I think we've got the detour plans in place, and it's going to be a lot of public outreach for us just to make sure everybody knows. And that's why we want the display boards up ahead of time before it starts to give people a heads up. I mean, people are used to Green Street being closed right now because of Eversource, but South Street was the normal go-to, but with that one being closed, it's going to get a little bit more chaotic. But
Okay. I have another question. Service interruptions for residents in the area?
typically the service connections are pretty quick. It's a day, not even.
Yeah, there'll be a couple hours when we tie into the existing, and then we will notify all the residents, and when we tie in their individual services, again, it'll be a few hours, and we'll give them a notice of a couple days so they're prepared.
Okay. And then, with regards to repaving, is there a plan, or is it you just repaving the parts of the road that have been opened, or will there be curb to curb repaving?
So the contract states that we'll temporary patch the trench, and then once that settles, we will also mill and repave permanently. Won't be curb to curb. It'll be the trench width.
Yeah, we changed our trenching policy on this year's contracts based on historic. So now we have them do the permanent temporary patch, and then 6 months later, once the trench is settled, they come in and do a proper mill and overlay but that's just for the trench, not for the forward. Because this is just a water main. It's not like the other project where they're putting in a water main and a sewer line, and there's really not going to be much street left.
Okay.
We did pave South Street 5 or 6 years ago.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we have to cut into it, but it is the nature of the beast, unfortunately.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, and any damage beyond the trench width that we may cause, we will obviously repair to back.
Okay. I think that's all I had. So for just my last question, if I may, for the residents that do live in that section of road, how will they be able to access their driveways?
So, yeah, it'll pretty much be, if you're either gonna go left or right out of your driveway, depending on where we're working, and we'll make friends with the residents probably on the first day or two, and they'll get used to us, and we'll kind of give them an idea of where we'll be, and they'll have to go one direction more or less.
Okay, so that wouldn't change, like, if they leave for work in the morning and go one direction, they're not gonna come back that way and have to go all the way back around?
It's unlikely.
Okay.
It maybe one day it might happen, but it's unlikely.
Yeah,
And we'll be in contact.
I mean, we typically do about, 200 feet a day? So
Yeah, so
it's
we
slow.
should.
It's not like it's gonna change during the
Yeah,
time
if
we're
we
out
start in
there.
front of someone's driveway, we'll be well past
still-
it by the end of the day.
Okay, all right.
Any other board members have any questions or comments? I know I understand it has to be for this long, and I appreciate that you're trying to complete it before.
I'm hoping it will go quicker, but I
Okay.
just want to err on the side of
Yeah, I
caution.
mean, this this would allow us to go much faster than to have to work around. They would double or triple the time if we had to have traffic access.
Okay. If there are no other comments or questions, I will entertain a motion.
I move that the board approve the road closure request of Mercure Excavating for a portion of South Street from July 28th, 2025 through September 5th, 2025, from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for coming in
very much.
and answering our questions. It's road closure night.
It is.
Item number 10 is to review and act on the road closure request for a portion of Green Street from Essex Petrie on behalf of Pulte Homes for August 11th, 2025 through October 4th, 2025 from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. This request is to complete off-site utility improvements related to the Emerald Run Residential Housing Development Project. I believe Mr. Petrie is here.
Sorry, excuse me 1 second.
That's
413
quite all right.
253.
Mr. Truman is here.
Sorry, we're just.
Might be here all night.
No, I think I'm done after this one, unless there's anything else.
Thank you, guys.
No problem at all.
So yeah, this is work in relation to the Pulte Home projects. They have to basically bring in water and sewer from Route 20 up to the site. So it's a little bit more intrusive than the previous project. I think we had been asked by the town manager's office just to coordinate with fire department, police department, school department, waste management, and school. So I did put together a memo. I was lucky enough to get feedback from everybody. I put together a memo. I think for the most part, it's people are used to Green Street being closed with the Eversource, so very similar conditions to with the Eversource project. Some pre-signage notifications for the project, coordination with picking up trash and taking it to the end of Appaloosa. I did talk to the school department. They are going to move. They have 3 or 4 children on that street that we will be picking up, so they're going to move the stop down to Appaloosa. So the buses will be able to come to Appaloosa, pick all the kids up, and then continue down Green Street and come up Centec. So school was the biggest one I was worried about. That seems pretty forward. Pulte agrees to bring the trash to the street, the end of the street every day, and bring it back at the end of the day. I think those are the 2 biggest hurdles, and then obviously PD. There was some some work on Route 20. A lot of that is covered under the Mass DOT permit and will be night work. I know PD had raised that, but I think again it's going to take some coordination, some outreach to the people in the neighborhood and getting some signage up. But I think we can put it together. So unless it has any other questions.
Well, thanks, Andy. That was that pretty much covered it.
And you're not concerned, Mr. Truman, about the overlap with?
It's unfortunate. I mean, in an ideal world, we'd like to do one or the other, but I think, we need to get our water main done in for the schools, and I think Pulte's can't really do any of their building permits until they've got water on the site for fire protection needs. So, I mean, ideally, yes, we would like to delay, but we understand that they want to keep the process going too, so. I mean, we have a fairly well-defined traffic management plan. I think I just need to coordinate between the 2 of them to make sure there's no overlap on signage, but we have a pretty good detailed plan, and I'm sure we get used to it.
Board members.
I have a similar list of questions that I just asked for the last request. You said the bus stop is going to be moved down to Appaloosa.
Correct.
Are these currently bus stops where the kids typically get picked up at the end of their driveway?
No, right now, there is a bus route that goes down Green Street typically, so there is at least 2 students on the street. There was 1 potential student they were waiting to hear. So typically the bus will go down, and as it does now, stop in front of the houses. But April from the school department was going to reach to AAA and coordinate with those few residents to have them walk to the end of the street.
So
Because the street won't be closed because they're working further up, but there's no way for the bus to get up and turn around and come
Right.
down. So it would be easy for them to get down to the end.
Will students be walking on the road while work is happening?
I don't know if they were walking, whether the parents would drive them down. I couldn't answer that question. I can certainly find out for you.
Okay, I think that's an important detail to understand. I think it's certainly the age of the students. Most middle school and high school kids aren't driven to the bus stop by their parents, and a lot of, there may be parents at work at that hour. That's definitely something I would appreciate some clarity on.
Okay, I can do that for you.
Okay, just, having major equipment in the road working with kids walking
Yeah.
on the street.
Like I say, I think where the houses are, hopefully be further up. There won't be any construction per se, but it still will be walking down the street.
If I may ask, repaving when the work is done. I think we had a prior conversation about this at a meeting at one point a long time ago, but will this be curb to curb repaving after the trench settles?
Yep, yeah, likely in the spring,
Okay.
but yes.
Okay. And, you know, the same question about, you know, residents being able to access their homes, and it's,
Absolutely. It's expected, and same answer as was provided by Mercure, and that we'll work with the residents when we're close to those homes. Fortunately, there's not a ton of residences in that stretch currently, so, but we will make sure that we coordinate with them on a daily basis as needed, to make sure that they have the access they need.
and I think just the last question is, again, about service interruptions that residents may expect with the work.
Yep, and similar answer in that there will be a brief interruption when it's turning over of the service, but we'll be sure to coordinate and communicate with them on those service disruptions.
All right, thank you.
Do you anticipate, I mean, this is almost 2 months that you have the request for. Do you anticipate that it will take?
I mean, ideally, we're closer to the 6 week. I think our estimate was 6 to 8 weeks. Ideally, we're in and out of there in 6 to 8 weeks. And based on, we were able to do some boring tests last fall, I believe it was, and those results were positive as far as what the material was underneath the roadway. So the hope is that that's what we'll find once we start digging in there. But there's, you know, always that chance that we run into something under the pavement that we weren't expecting. So that's why we have the range. But the goal is to be closer to that 6 week range.
Okay. You know, I'll speak for myself. This is a situation where I do rely on town staff to ensure that residents are aware, that we mitigate disruption and inconvenience to every extent possible. And so while it's our decision to grant it, it is based on your recommendation. So I would respectfully ask the town to keep a close eye on it and respond accordingly to any resident feedback. And bring to our attention if there's anything that we need to revisit. Okay, if there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
So I move the board approve the road closure request of Pulte Homes for August 11th, 2025 through October 4th, 2025, Monday to Saturday, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily, subject to the requirements outlined in the memorandum prepared by Town Engineer Andrew Truman, dated July 14th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you both very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Item number 11 is to review and act to authorize the payment of the fiscal year 2026 Massachusetts Municipal Association annual dues. The MMA is a professional trade organization for municipal officials of Massachusetts and a significant source of information, education, training, networking, etc. The annual fee is $5,661, which is a 1% increase over fiscal ¡25. Mr. Mizikar, anything to add here?
Well, happy to answer any questions about the advocacy the association does. I continue to sit on the board of directors of the organization, so I think it provides great value to the town and to all municipal officials across the Commonwealth.
No questions or comments?
Oh, just one question. Mr. Mizikar, how do they calculate our portion of that fee amongst the communities in Massachusetts? Just curious.
I don't know that off the top of my head, to be honest with you. I'd be happy to get that. I would assume it'd be some formula based on population, but I can follow up with you on that.
Okay.
A motion?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we will move to correspondence. Item number 12 is an email dated July 3rd, 2025 from Travis Kane, 36 Fairview Avenue, regarding trash issues, so noted. Letter dated July 8th, 2025 from the Federal Emergency Management Agency regarding letters of map amendment, so noted. And item number 14 is a letter dated July 16th, 2025, from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection regarding draft Chapter 91 license application for 134 Reservoir Street. Also noted. That concludes our agenda, and if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening.